If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns find themselves at an intriguing crossroads early in the season, with their hopes for long-term success tied closely to the brilliance of one man who has become the heart and soul of their defense. Myles Garrett, the former #1 overall pick and the face of the franchise's defensive identity, is proving once again why he is widely regarded as one of the most feared players in the NFL. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, Garrett has already collected 4 sacks, placing him second in the league, trailing Green Bay's Rashawn Gary by just half a sack. What makes this statistic even more impressive is the way Garrett has been able to impose his will despite the constant attention and double teams that opposing offenses throw at him week in and week out. He is not just producing numbers, he is dictating the entire flow of games, forcing offensive coordinators to rip up their game plans and reinvent protection schemes just to have a chance of keeping their quarterback upright. Head coach Kevin Stefanski has been effusive in his praise of Garrett, noting that every opponent comes into a matchup against Cleveland with one mantra in mind. They must find a way to contain number 95. Stefanski himself acknowledged that this usually means an endless stream of double teams, extra tight ends lining up on his side, or running backs being asked to chip him before releasing into their routes. The problem for opponents is that Garrett still manages to break through those obstacles with his unique blend of power, speed, and relentless energy. When he doesn't make the play himself, he creates chaos that opens the door for his teammates to shine. Stefanski even joked, half seriously, that Garrett should be considered the Defensive Player of the Year in perpetuity because of the way he elevates everyone around him. That might sound like coach speak to some, but for anyone who has watched Cleveland play this season, it is hard to argue against it. The Browns' Week 3 win over the Green Bay Packers serves as the perfect example of how dominant this defensive line can be when Garrett sets the tone. Cleveland walked away with a gritty 13-10 victory, largely thanks to the pressure applied on Jordan Love, who spent most of the afternoon scrambling, dodging, and absorbing hits from every angle. The Browns finished with 5 sacks in the game, with Garrett notching half a sack, a testament to how his presence creates opportunities for others. On paper, half a sack might not jump out, but it's the ripple effect that tells the real story. Every snap that Garrett absorbs double coverage frees someone else to find a favorable one-on-one matchup. In the trenches, those opportunities are gold, and the Browns' defensive line has shown they know how to capitalize. What's becoming clear is that Cleveland's defensive success is built not just on one superstar, but on the collective force of a unit that is deeper and more versatile than it has been in years. When Stefanski speaks about everyone being able to win, he's highlighting the confidence he has in his rotation. The Browns are no longer relying solely on Garrett to do it all. Players like Zadarius Smith and Shelby Harris are stepping up, showing that they can turn the attention Garrett draws into production of their own. That balance is critical, not only to the Browns' short-term results, but also to keeping their defensive front fresh as the grind of the season wears on. In today's NFL, depth across the line isn't just a luxury. It's a necessity, especially when your team's identity is built around pressuring the quarterback. The synergy between Garrett and his teammates is the real weapon Cleveland brings to the table. Imagine being an offensive coordinator trying to prepare for this group. Do you dedicate extra resources to stopping Garrett, knowing that leaves someone else free to wreak havoc? Or do you try to play everyone straight up, risking the nightmare scenario of Garrett tearing through a single blocker and collapsing your entire passing game? There's no easy answer, and that's exactly what makes the Browns' defensive front such a dangerous proposition. As the season continues, it's reasonable to expect opponents will try new wrinkles, rollouts, quick passes, max protection. But Garrett has seen it all before, and more often than not, he still finds a way to leave his mark. For the Browns, this formula, defense first, suffocating pressure, and a relentless edge presence, has to remain their bread and butter if they hope to climb into playoff contention. The offense has shown flashes, but it is not yet the kind of consistent juggernaut that can win shootouts every week. That reality makes Garrett's dominance, and the unit's overall ability to control the line of scrimmage, all the more vital. Cleveland's margin for error is slim in a competitive AFC North, where every divisional game feels like a playoff showdown and every mistake can swing the season's trajectory. Garrett isn't just a star in this context. He's the anchor holding the team steady and the catalyst for everything good that happens on defense. What often goes overlooked in Garrett's brilliance is the mental aspect of his game. He isn't simply relying on freakish athletic ability, though he has plenty of that. He has matured into a player who understands leverage, angles, and timing as well as anyone in the league. Watch closely, and you'll see how he studies the tendencies of opposing tackles, waiting for the slightest misstep before exploding into the backfield. It's a chess match on every snap, and Garrett has proven he is playing several moves ahead. That combination of brains and brawn is rare, and it is what separates the good pass rushers from the truly elite. When Stefanski calls him the Defensive Player of the Year every year in his mind, it isn't just flattery. It's recognition of the fact that Garrett has reached a level where his presence alone tilts the field. The Week 4 matchup against the Detroit Lions will be another fascinating test. Detroit has built one of the better offensive lines in football, anchored by stars like Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow, and they pride themselves on protecting Jared Goff while opening lanes for their run game. If Garrett and the Browns front can disrupt that rhythm, it could be the kind of performance that cements Cleveland's defense as one of the most formidable units in the league. Conversely, if the Lions manage to neutralize Garrett, it will put the onus on Cleveland's offense to carry the day, which is not the formula the Browns want to rely on. It's no exaggeration to say that the outcome of the game could hinge on how many times Garrett is able to break through. Looking at the bigger picture, Garrett's importance to Cleveland goes beyond sacks, pressures, or stat sheets. He represents a culture shift for a franchise long starved of defensive superstars. He embodies the toughness, the consistency, and the relentless work ethic that the Browns have been trying to instill across their roster for years. Younger players see how he prepares, how he fights through double teams, how he refuses to take a play off, and they follow suit. In that sense, Garrett is not just a defensive end. He is the leader of a movement within the Browns locker room. That kind of leadership is invaluable, and it is one of the reasons Cleveland has legitimate hope of turning its potential into sustained success. The Browns' formula is clear. Ride the dominance of their defensive line. Let Garrett be the engine that drives the unit, and trust that the offense can do just enough to complement that identity. It may not always be pretty, and there will be games where the defense has to drag the team across the finish line, but that is a formula that can work in today's NFL. The margin between winning and losing is razor thin, and having a player like Myles Garrett gives Cleveland the kind of trump card that very few teams possess. If he continues on this trajectory, not only will he challenge for Defensive Player of the Year honors yet again, but he might just drag the Browns into the thick of the playoff hunt, where his impact could be magnified even more. At the end of the day, the conversation about the Browns' future always seems to circle back to Garrett. Can he continue to dominate despite the endless attention? Can he stay healthy and maintain the energy that fuels his game? And perhaps most importantly, can the rest of the defense keep feeding off his gravity to form a unit that is feared across the league? If the answer to those questions is yes, then Cleveland is not just a tough out. They are a team that nobody will want to see when the stakes are highest. Myles Garrett doesn't just give the Browns a chance to win. He gives them an identity, a swagger, and a blueprint for success. And right now, that might be the most valuable thing any team in the NFL could ask for. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. In the ever-heated world of professional sports, where tempers flare as fast as scores change, a new storm seems to be brewing. And this time, it's got the fans talking in every corner of social media. Myles, known for his usually calm and collected demeanor, has reportedly reached a boiling point, and the target of his frustration is none other than DILLON. Rumors have been swirling all week, whispers of tension in the locker room, cryptic messages on social media, and now, sources close to the players suggest that Myles has decided he's had enough. The words are said to be simple, direct, and cutting. Enough. This is not just a passing remark or a moment of frustration caught on camera. Insiders hint that this could be the spark of a significant shift in dynamics, possibly even affecting team chemistry in the coming weeks. According to those in the know, the situation has been simmering for some time. DILLON, always outspoken and sometimes controversial in his approach, has reportedly pushed several boundaries that Myles could no longer ignore. It's said that the exchanges between the two have been escalating over minor disagreements that, from the outside, might seem trivial, but in a high-pressure sports environment, small cracks can become full-blown fissures overnight. Fans have noticed subtle hints for weeks: side glances during interviews, tense body language during training, and cryptic posts that, at first glance, seemed harmless. But now, the curtain is lifting, and the reality appears to be far more serious. "Enough," Myles allegedly said, according to sources who claim to have first-hand knowledge of the interaction. It's not just a plea for cooperation or a request for understanding. It's reportedly a demand for change. This revelation has sent shockwaves across the community. Analysts and commentators are dissecting every frame of recent games and interviews, searching for signs of tension, trying to piece together the narrative that could explain why a usually patient athlete like Myles would make such a public declaration of frustration. Some speculate that this is more than just a personal conflict. It could reflect larger issues within the team's structure, communication breakdowns, or even strategic disagreements that have been kept behind closed doors. The intrigue is palpable, as fans are left to wonder, was this outburst spontaneous, or had it been brewing for months, hidden under the veneer of professionalism and restraint? Adding fuel to the fire, there have been murmurs about private conversations that might have occurred off-camera. Insiders hint that Myles attempted multiple times to address the situation calmly, to guide DILLON toward a more constructive path, but each effort was reportedly met with resistance or dismissiveness. The repeated frustrations may have compounded, culminating in the moment that sources describe as explosive, a simple, unequivocal enough that, if true, signals a clear breaking point. The nature of this conflict seems to go beyond mere words. It's reportedly about respect, accountability, and professional boundaries that one side believes have been violated too many times. Social media, as expected, has been ablaze. Clips and quotes are being dissected and shared at lightning speed. Fans are forming factions, some defending DILLON, citing his passionate style and willingness to challenge norms, while others side with Myles, arguing that his patience has limits, and every professional has the right to set boundaries. Memes, theories, and hot takes are multiplying, turning what might have been a simple locker room disagreement into a full-blown trending topic. The rumor mill is relentless, with each retelling adding layers of speculation, some suggesting that management may have to intervene, while others believe this could escalate into a more public showdown if not handled delicately. What makes this particularly captivating is the contrast in personalities. Myles, known for his composed demeanor, strategic thinking, and measured public statements, rarely shows his emotions in such a direct way. DILLON, on the other hand, is often viewed as a firebrand, charismatic, outspoken, and willing to challenge norms. The clash of these two approaches, combined with the high stakes of professional sports, creates a perfect storm of intrigue and anticipation. Sources hint that colleagues have been whispering about this tension for weeks, noting how interactions between the two have shifted from friendly banter to subtle barbs, with teammates reportedly feeling the ripple effects of the growing unease. Adding yet another layer to the unfolding story are the reactions from pundits and former players. Many are framing this as a classic tale of competing personalities within high-pressure environments, where even the smallest spark can ignite a larger conversation about team dynamics, leadership, and accountability. There's speculation that Myles' statement could inspire other players to voice their frustrations more openly or could force management to take a proactive stance, mediating before the situation disrupts more than just the locker room atmosphere. Analysts are closely watching every press conference, every interview, every social media post, trying to read between the lines for clues about what comes next. The tension is tangible, the stakes are high, and the fans can't look away. Meanwhile, DILLON's camp has remained largely silent, fueling even more speculation. Some insiders claim that he's processing the backlash and contemplating his next move, aware that every word or action now could have amplified consequences. Others suggest he may respond in a more calculated way, aiming to defuse the tension without conceding ground, further adding to the uncertainty and anticipation surrounding this feud. This balance of patience, strategy, and emotion is what keeps fans and media alike glued to every development. No one knows for sure how this will play out, but one thing is clear. When a player like Myles, usually the epitome of calm, says enough, it reverberates far beyond a single comment. It sends a signal that boundaries have been crossed, and a change is inevitable. In conclusion, the story is far from over. What began as subtle friction has now evolved into a potential tipping point, with Myles' direct statement acting as a catalyst for discussion, speculation, and anticipation across the sports world. Will DILLON respond in kind? Will management step in to mediate? Or will this tension simmer quietly behind closed doors until it finds another outlet? The answers remain unclear, but the buzz is undeniable. Fans, commentators, and insiders alike are watching closely, and every new development will be analyzed, dissected, and debated. The rumor of Myles reaching his limit and delivering a pointed enough has captivated the community, and it seems that, for the moment, the story is only gaining momentum. The drama, the personalities, and the stakes all combine to create a narrative that could dominate headlines and conversations for weeks to come. One thing is certain. In the world of sports, tensions like this never stay quiet for long, and the ripple effects of this moment will likely be felt far beyond the locker room. The anticipation, the speculation, and the intrigue have only just begun. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!